One bright summer afternoon, a group of 15-year-old boys rode their bicycles through their neighborhood, laughing and racing each other down the familiar streets. Among them was Ravi, a boy with restless eyes and an insatiable desire for more speed, more adventure, more things he couldn't have. His heart ached for a brand new bicycle, one of those sleek models with thick tires and a shining frame, but his father, a hard-working man struggling to make ends meet, had made it clear they couldn't afford such luxuries. As they rode past an old, abandoned house at the end of the street, a house rumored to be haunted, Ravi pedaled slower. The place had been empty for nearly 20 years, its windows broken, its paint peeling away like dead skin. Every kid in the neighborhood knew the stories, the whispers of shadows moving behind the cracked glass, the eerie glow sometimes seen at night, and, most chillingly, the tale of a boy who had entered the house decades ago and never returned. The others sped ahead, eager to leave the house behind, but Ravi lingered for a second. That was when he heard it. "Do you want a new bicycle? Come inside and I'll give it to you." The voice was smooth, inviting, and oddly familiar, yet it sent a shiver down his spine. He quickly turned to his friend Arjun. "Did you hear that?" Ravi asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Hear what?" Arjun frowned, adjusting his helmet. "That voice," Ravi insisted, scanning the empty windows of the house. Arjun gave him a weird look. "You're imagining things, man. Let's go." Shaking off the unease, Ravi pedaled hard, catching up with his friends. But the voice echoed in his mind long after they left the house behind. That evening, after dropping Arjun off at his house, Ravi found himself riding back alone. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the street. As he approached the abandoned house again, the voice returned, softer this time, almost coaxing. "Do you want a new bicycle? Come inside." Ravi's breath caught in his throat. He hesitated. A small voice in his head told him to ignore it, to keep pedaling, but curiosity was a stubborn thing. He stopped his bike. His heart pounded as he stepped toward the house, the wooden porch creaking beneath his weight. The door, though weathered and cracked, swung open with a quiet groan as if expecting him. A thick layer of dust coated everything inside. The air smelled stale, tinged with something metallic like old rust. At the center of the living room stood a massive mirror, its frame carved with intricate symbols he didn't recognize. The glass was polished, unervingly clean compared to the decay around it. Then it spoke. "Step inside and your wish will be granted." Ravi's pulse quickened. He had always dreamed of a better bike, and now it seemed within his grasp. His father always told him that nothing in life came for free, but what if this was different? What if this was a miracle? Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. The moment he touched the glass, a ripple spread across its surface like water disturbed by a stone. A strange sensation pulled at his body, and suddenly he found himself inside the mirror's world, a space of endless white. In front of him stood a brand new bicycle. It was even better than what he had imagined, gleaming silver, strong wheels, a frame so smooth it looked like it had never touched dirt. With trembling hands, Ravi reached for it. The moment his fingers brushed the handlebars, he was back in the abandoned house. The mirror stood silent, but the bicycle was real. It was his. His lips curled into a grin. But deep inside, A small, almost imperceptible part of him felt off. From that day on, Ravi kept the bicycle hidden in the house, sneaking out to ride it whenever he could. He felt invincible, racing through the city streets, the wind in his hair. The envious stares from his friends filled him with pride. Then one evening, as he returned the bicycle to its hiding place, the mirror whispered again, "Don't you have any other wishes?" Ravi chuckled, resting a hand on the cool surface of the glass. "I have tons of wishes, but I think it'll break you." "I can do anything," the mirror replied. "Ask me." A thrill ran through him. If the mirror had given him a bicycle, what else could it do? He started small. He wished for a bunch of apples, and they appeared in his hands, fresh and crisp. He wished for his lost math book, and it materialized at his feet. Then, testing the limits, he wished for his deceased dog, Bruno. Moments later, a familiar bark echoed through the house, and Bruno bounded toward him, tail wagging. Ravi laughed in pure delight. But the next day something strange happened. He saw Bruno in the yard and felt nothing. The memories of his childhood pet, how Bruno had licked his face, how they had played fetch for hours, were gone. He knew the dog was his, but the emotions tied to it had vanished. He brushed it off. But with each new wish the same thing happened. He wished for better grades and forgot the names of his teachers. He wished for a luxurious room and couldn't remember the layout of his own house. His memories were fading piece by piece. By the time he turned 17, Ravi had everything he ever wanted. Expensive clothes, a grand house, wealth beyond his dreams. Yet, when he looked in the mirror, he saw a stranger. He couldn't recall his childhood, his friends, or even his parents' faces. His own name felt foreign on his tongue. Panic gripped him. He rushed to the mirror. "Give me my memories back," he demanded. The mirror only chuckled. "I cannot. Each wish took a part of you. There is only one way to undo this." "How?" Ravi pleaded. "Break me. But everything will reset to 2 years ago." His hands trembled. If he shattered the mirror, would he even remember why he was doing it? Gritting his teeth, he lifted a chair and smashed it into the glass. The mirror exploded into shards of light, swallowing him whole. Ravi blinked. He was 15 again, pedaling through the streets with his friends. The summer air was warm, the world familiar. He looked down, his old bicycle. His heartbeat steadied. As they passed the abandoned house, the voice whispered once more, "Do you have any wishes?" Ravi's breath hitched, but this time he remained silent. Beside him, Arjun slowed down, his brow furrowing. "Did you hear that?" Ravi forced a smile. "No," he lied. But as he pedaled away, he saw Arjun glancing back at the house, curiosity gleaming in his eyes.